morning, everyone. Alright, let's go ahead and switch scenes. There we go. We're on, guys. What's going on, everyone?
All right. Good morning.
So, this is TennoTalk. If you guys remember from the 100 hours of Warframe, we did this during that event, and it was kind of like a little podcast or talk show, and I wanted to continue it. So that's exactly what we're doing. So today we have Michel, Mogamu, and Big Jim, and we're just gonna talk about stuff, and we're gonna interact with chat and try and get your opinions as well. And we'll ask questions, answer them, maybe play around in Warframe, you know, this, that, and the other. So let's get started. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows who you guys are, but I guess we'll start by introducing everyone. So, Michel.
What's up? My name is not TNL. I used to be TNL official, but now my name is Michel. Yeah, you know, I theorize a lot about Warframe, and do some Twitch streams. But aside from that, I kind of just hang around. I don't know. I'm just here by accident. Let's move on.
Okay, Mo. I mean,
Mogamu.
who's that again? I forgot.
Oh, yeah. Are you new to the Warframe directory?
Yes. Freshly 5 years. You know.
Wow.
Working towards 6 before we, you know, before we actually stick around a little bit longer. YouTube and just getting into Twitch within, well, no, not within the last year, but within the last year and a half, getting more into Twitch. But mostly YouTube videos for a while now. Yeah.
This is true. This is true. And Jim?
Hey, what's up? How's everybody doing out there? Good morning. My name's BigJimID. Twitch streamer, mainly. You know, you can pretty much find me everywhere else. But yeah, we like to have some fun. And I'm probably one of the newer guys in the group, unlike Mo. And dude, I can say at this point, you're veteran enough to be. You can call yourself a Twitch streamer, my man. That's okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about the sacrifice, we're going to talk a little bit about Warframe in general, and then we're going to just break it down from there and see where it goes. So if you guys have not played the sacrifice yet, just cover your ears or something, mute the stream.
Maybe we should change the title to TennoTalk #1, sacrifice, whatever else, and then spoilers.
With spoilers?
Yeah, like right now, people are expecting Tiger Stripe to show up. I can grow my hair out real quickly and then be like Tiger Stripe. But
oh wait, did it not change the stream name? Oh shoot, it didn't. You know what it did?
Yeah. Still says Tiger Stripe.
It changed my personal Twitch. I just went over to my Twitch channel and I saw it. Shit.
That's
so, yeah,
hilarious.
I will change the the stream name right now.
Good job.
I know. I'm doing real well right now.
So is this what episode is this? Is this like the one since the 100 hours? Is this the very next one?
Yeah.
yeah,
This is literally the one right after.
Yep.
So
well, we could call it episode 2, or we could call 100 hours episode pilot, episode series.
Whichever one.
Whatever one. But guys, as you see right here, this is going to be the second piece of regular content here on Warframe fan channels, where we're gonna be bringing this podcast, or at least actually Defton is gonna be bringing this podcast. I think he's right above me. We're gonna have Defton host this podcast. I don't know, bi-weekly. You're looking at. We're gonna be talking about Warframe developments, what's been going on. Right now we have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about because a lot has been going on. We have 2 more weeks to go till TennoCon. Yeah, this is gonna be
crazy.
You said 2 more months? Okay, yeah, I'll definitely be ready.
Months?
Yeah. I'll definitely be ready. Yeah.
Oh, well, 2 more months. We're almost looking at TwitchCon.
So, let's get this started. I'll, like I said, it's going to be kind of a question and answer type thing, and we can just dynamically talk about whatever comes to mind. But let's first start off with the sacrifice, right? I assume everyone here has played it. Right?
Yeah.
Basic question. Overall thoughts. Good, bad? Was it too little? Was it too much? What do you think, Michel?
Overall, I did enjoy the story. I would rate it as good. Like, I feel it's about on the same level as a quest of Change of Hero. Is it on the same level as the second Dream of War Within? Not really, but still like a lot of fun.
Okay, fair enough. Mo, what do you think?
I'm glad we're disagreeing.
Yes!
I agree with you mechanically. Mechanically, I think it's not the best quest. There isn't a whole lot going on, I guess, gameplay wise.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really introduce systems, that type of thing. I think narratively it is the best quest though. As far as just having like, you know, story arcs, characters improving, changing. I mean, Lotus doesn't. Spoiler, sorry.
We'll find that out next time, hopefully.
Right. But like you know, Operator, Warframe, that type of thing. I think in that respect, I think it is the best quest, and I've kind of been exploring that. But you're right, mechanically, maybe not so much, you know. But I think narratively, I think it sticks a little harder than you guys are gonna go upset with me. I can tell. I think narratively it sticks harder than Second Dream.
I mean, okay, well, I'll let
Let's
Jim
get
say.
to Jim first.
Yeah, I'll let Jim say what he wants to say.
I thought it was sick. I loved it. It was so good.
I got
like,
one of my team. Let's go.
Yeah, it was so good. Like, but yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, because I had replayed all 4 of the prerequisites before it dropped. Like that week, the 2 days prior, and I agree with Mogamu. Like, there was tons of stuff in the second Dream. The War Within was like kind of a good closer type of lead to the next. Didn't get much from the chains, and then the Apostasy kind of got you real excited for the Sacrifice. So I agree there, where the second Dream and then the Sacrifice were both like had tons of stuff going on and left you with a whole bunch of like what ifs and the next step to the story and all that. But the Sacrifice itself, I wanted to replay it again the next day.
Yeah, same.
And Danielle was like, yeah, we'll be adding a feature to replay soon. And I like went back to the quest thing, and it was like, whoa, it's not there yet.
It's not there. Yeah.
Okay, for me, I actually do agree that the quest narratively is. I thought it was really good. I thought it added, like, a lot of lore to like how the Warframes were created, or at least the Umbra frames, and we can assume, if I made a video on this actually, talking about how we can kind of infer how all of the Warframes are created based on how Umbra was. So I think that adds a lot of value to the Warframes, and we can kind of understand where they come from. And I think that's really important, because in the past we had no idea. We had no fucking clue. So I think it's really cool that that we actually understand where they're coming from now. But in terms of like an actual update, in terms of features and stuff like that, it's really lacking. And the fact that Umbra is the only frame right now that's able to Excalibur is the only frame right now that's able to do what he does and be sentient and move around on his own, that kind of sucks.
Horrible AI. With horrible AI.
Yeah, with horrible AI. Yeah,
with horrible AI.
Yeah, like his AI is awful. Honestly, I was talking about this on stream the other day. It seems like the AI in the quest is significantly better than what we get.
Oh yeah.
Like
Totally.
I don't know. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I've heard that before.
If you do a side by side, if you use a side by side comparison, they're completely different. In the quest, he was wrecking me. Like, he was making me stagger so much with his stupid exalted blade, and he kept on stunning me. The AI that we have never does that shit.
I think he was using a stalker AI, to be honest with you.
Maybe. That would make sense.
Now you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, man. I was actually getting frustrated at some parts. I was like, oh, I've got a good amp, but I have nothing leveled in any of my focus trees. Like, this is hard mode. Like, what the heck? So that's what I was recommending to viewers. Before you guys play it, level up your operators, get your waybounds and stuff. You're gonna want some stuff, but
yeah.
yeah.
That's the only reason why I was able to go through it so easily. because I had
Mm-hmm.
almost all my trees are unlocked. So, Oceans, what's going on? And Glitch Vision, you said there's not much mechanically, but it does raise questions for what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. And that actually leads me to another question I have here. What do you think Warframe, or the Sacrifice, is leading us up to? Like, what do you think the next big quest is?
Oh, well, we actually already know.
What do you think?
I have a very, very sorry. Let me just. All right. I just want to like quickly introduce this. When it comes to like the lore that we get from this quest, it is really good. But the reason that I put it on the same scale as Change of Hero is that Change of Hero also gave us a good amount of lore. It was a really nice, like it was a very, very solid Warframe quest. But what I would call the legacy of the Sacrifice, being one Warframe, one sword, and a couple of new mods, it's scarce. And when it came to like how many cinematic scenes we've had, like the cinematic elements were not that great. However, yes, there was a lot of lore in that. I really do like that. I really, really do. Because from that, we've been able to, like, of course, get into the entire old war. The entire old war, we kind of know how that happened. But we can now also theorize what's going to happen. Because when through the Vitruvian, we kind of learned everything about the old war. Also about the Sentients being we already knew the Sentients were the Orcans' best weapon that they'd ever created, the best technology that they send out. What we learned, they send them out to discover new areas for them to later on conquer and move towards.
Right.
Then the Sentients came out there, they discovered a place, and they found that place so beautiful that they knew that it was inevitable that the Orcan would come over there some point in the future and destroy that, like they did with Earth. So at that point, they decided that their only option to preserve that place would be to get rid of the Orcan. So that's when they decided to turn against the Orcan, and because like the Sentients were this high point of technology, the Orcan had only one choice, and that's to revert back to infested flesh, revert back to anything that did not have any circuits or any like technology in them, because the Sentients would take that over. So they created the Warframes. That story is kind of known. But once they were like eradicated, we have like, what was this place that they were trying to protect? Well, we know through tweets from Warframe, through tweets that have been sent out about like general talk that's been done previously, we know about a place called the Tau system, which is a completely new solar system that we've never seen before, which is not our solar system, it's a new system.
Right.
The Tau system, if you go to the mods in your new Umbra mods, you will find that there is Tau resist and extra sentient damage. And there have been people that have been dismissing these mods because they don't have enough damage. I prefer my prime pressure points, but look at that. Look at that. We have extra sentient damage and we have Tau resist. The next one that's coming with the Lotus coming back home to Mother is us going to the Tau system, which I also feel is the Tenno life reveal of this year. Spoilers.
Yeah, maybe. All right, what do you think, Mo?
Everything he said. I mean, they've been. I mean, it's been a long time coming, man. Like Steve has said, he wanted to do a new solar system. I think at some point, like long time ago.
He said it a while ago.
Yeah. So there's some hints there. There's some hints in the mods that they want to do to the tile system. They said they wanted to wrap up currently what we have. So, I mean, everything points towards that. Will they do it at TennoTalk? I hope. I mean,
yeah.
What else have they been working on? Like, honestly, like this quest cannot have been 8 months of work.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you that.
Clem cinematic quest, we're gonna get it.
Oh,
Clem
yes.
cinematic and Warframe battle royale.
That's what we need.
That's
That's what we need.
Jim, let me tell you, I just got word from the E. They'd be down with that if you will cover for the legal fees when we're getting sued by public.
Sued by Epic. Oh my god. But
DMCA.
Yeah.
DMCA.
Jim, I guess do you agree as well, or?
So yeah, I'm glad Michelle went full circle on that one, because like I was gonna say that too. I hadn't even noticed when I first played through like all of the lore in the Sacrifice until I was editing
The
highlights,
video, right?
looking at the VOD.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of that one, because I was like, I sent it in for a reaction when you know she came down, And then her whole voice line at the end where she was talking about the mother, I was like, wait, they didn't even say that the first time. Well, obviously they had to because I played it, but I completely missed it. I was in such shock and awe. I was like, what is that? Like, so I don't even know wherever. Yeah, and that would be really, really exciting if we did get a new thing. Because I've been saying it's like, well, last year, yeah, we all expected Umbra, right? And then we got Plains, which was something that nobody had any idea of. So this year, I'm hoping we get something new that it's like, all right, well, we're all expecting the Venus, right? Open zone, and I'm hoping we get something completely different, like a new solar system or something where we aren't expecting it at all.
Right.
Or at least just me. I don't know. I don't.
I completely agree, actually. I think it's going to be something very similar, where, I mean, everything is literally pointing to it, and we're definitely going to get more information about the Lotus, I think, because, I mean, we kind of need to. Right now, we're, like, everything's in the air about the Lotus, you know? We're not sure if she still loves us, if, you know, she's actually going to come back, if she's staying with the Sentients. We don't know exactly what Ballas did to turn her into that sentient or to get her back to her real form, as she says. You know, there's a lot of questions surrounding the Lotus now.
Yeah.
And I know that they did that on purpose, because I think they're going to be exploring that whole sentient aspect of her, because she is the daughter of Hunhao, so.
Right.
Speaking of the Lotus, like one thing that I feel was a little bit off, which, like, I don't know how you guys experienced the cliffhanger, but to me it felt really like a cliffhanger that was too strong. Kind of like you Lotus shut up and it was like, what? She's gone? And it's like it was less like, oh, that was a good quest. Oh, we have this question. It was more like, I need to know this. I can't wait like 1.5 years until the next cinematic quest comes out.
Yeah.
Why'd you do this? And one of the big issues I feel is that Steve did say beforehand that this was a quest about the Warframe, not about the Lotus. But the problem is that, like, half a year ago, we got the Apostasy prologue that was all about the Lotus. So I feel that kind of got us on the wrong leg, assuming that this was going to be all about the Lotus, and then the Lotus didn't say.
They went in their own direction, which was weird because they were saying, "Oh, we're gonna answer all these questions. You know, everything. We're gonna wrap it all up, and you know, everything we've done up until now, it's gonna be all wrapped up in a pretty bow." Nah. I think they asked questions and then they answered their own questions, which was kind of disappointing. That would be one of my downfalls with the quest. That it was more questions, and then it's like, oh, we're out of time. See you next year.
It wasn't the end of the cinematic trilogy, not at all. Yeah. Which they ditched for a while before, like they had that tweet that they then deleted where they said it's going to be the end of the cinematic trilogy. And that would have made sense because then it's like, okay, well, we started this with this strategy where we get to know who we are and who the Lotus is, because like both of these themes are very, very strongly represented in like all these quests. And then with knowing that, we move on. But that gets me to one question. I want to know, which side are you on? Also in chat, let me know, or in the comments of YouTube if you're watching this video on YouTube. But the very first scene where Ballas and Anata shoot up Umbra. What time is that, and what is your reasoning behind that? When does that happen? There are two main theories about it. I want to know, like, first before we get into theories, when does it happen? When do you think?
I mean, I would probably say it's it's definitely before we were around. You know what I mean? Before the Tenno came back. Probably somewhere around the Orcan era, or a little bit after. That would be my guess.
All right. Oh yeah, I agree.
Orcan era. Yeah, it seems like it. I mean,
so Jim, what do you say?
Jim, what do you think?
Are we talking about the cutscene, like right in the opening,
first
of the sacrifice? Oh, I thought that was just like, hey, we're playing that live. I thought that was like as we were in the story. Like, I'm real bad with lore, so I was just like, oh, this is interesting. And then as I kept playing, I was like, oh, so that was happening while we were doing all this, like concurrently. Holy crap, it's next level. But
well,
I guess it would make more sense that it had already been past. Yeah.
Well, like, let me tell you the two strong main theories, and one that really supports what you think, and one that supports the past theory. And this is like one of my grabs to the sacrifice. It's got so many plot holes. Everything that Ballast says is complete crap because it's not backed up by anything. But that aside, so the scene that happens, it's on the moon. Number one, the moon is out of the void, but like they never change that even when going back in time, whatever. So that's like something to be dismissed. But when that entire scene happens, this is the present theory. So you have Umbra howling there. Bellus comes around, attacks him with sentience. Then the Lotus blows Umbra up. Right after that scene, the operator shifts back and is like, "Ordis, scan for recent sentient activity on Earth." And Ordis is like, "What? How do you know it?" He scans. It's like, "Hey, there was recent activity," which would indicate that's the only one line that says that must be reason because he found recent activity of sentients on Earth, and why would they be there when it happened all the way in the past? However, when you get there, this is the past theory, is it happened in the past because when you scan the first parts, or it says this equipment predates anything in your arsenal. Meaning
yeah.
But they're like both of these things. It's only one line, so it's like everything is equally plausible, but it has huge complications for like was Ballast with Nata like ages ago before the Tenno were even around, or did they just join up and then what was Umbra doing? Why was he all of a sudden howling after all these years?
It could. So here's one theory.
Yeah.
It could happen right before Nata's like infiltration, because the moon was still there. The Tenno existed.
Yeah.
And then Nata comes along and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna infiltrate the Orkin. Ballast, you're gonna help me." And oh yeah, by the way, screw that screw that Umbra. I mean, it could have been circumstantial. I mean, that's one theory. And the other theory is that it happened a lot sooner based on those lines. But then that's like, man, it's like, that's why I wanted to get Steve face to face and nail this stuff down. I've been talking to my stream about that. It's like, look, some of this stuff we just got to ask, because it's like we can throw it around all day, but we would need a solid answer to kind of give it context. But there are about maybe 2 or 3 time periods that could have happened in reasonably. If it was pre-infiltration, then it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because Umbra was in that underground, the Vitruvian chamber, right? That had to have broke out. They kind of said it when we were doing the quest, like, "Oh, this must have happened when we pulled the moon out of the void." So that kind of leads me to believe that he was down, like that the Tenno, Lotus, and Umbra were all in the moon, all just hiding, chilling in there in their various parts, the pods, and then Lotus, and then Umbra's wherever we went and found him at that cryopod thing where he had to do the cool new hackings. So my understanding was that we wouldn't have, like, Umbra would still be there if the rupture wouldn't have happened and he boogied it out of there. That's kind of what led me to believe that, hey, this is all kind of happening real time type of thing.
I hadn't even thought about the chamber thing. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, there's again something opposing that thing, that theory of that he was in there, because like the lines that they say is Orders is like, "These markings signify danger. Was this a containment cell or something?" And Operators like, "Cave-ins must have compromised the enclosure." Orders likely. There are still strong aftershocks from when you pulled Lua out of the void. However, the interesting thing is that if Umbra escaped, then Umbra would have escaped in a rage. However, when he escaped, he perfectly closed down the laboratory. He even went back to like carve the gravings for the ciphers into the walls, and then he closed all doors down, and then he went out. And it's like, that doesn't make sense. If he had like escaped because like we pulled it out of the void, then why is everything like perfectly shut and sealed? Yeah. It's like Umbra will not be like, "Oh, I gotta get out." Oh wait, let me just
lock the door real quick. Gotta close the door behind me.
Yeah.
Maybe he took one of the water tubes and just slid out of there. Good point.
So yeah, no, that makes sense. With me, I think that it makes more sense that Umbra was around in the past, and we're just rebuilding him now. Like, he didn't come out from when we pulled the moon out of the void, or when we pulled Lua out of the void. He's just been gone for centuries. And I think that makes the most sense. It's the theory that has the most evidence given by the quest, so I'm just going to stick with that. But
like, he broke out before we went and grabbed the moon type of thing, and he's just been roaming and roaming, and we finally caught up to him.
Well, I think he was destroyed during or after the Orcan era, but it was somewhere around that time period, and then what we're doing right now is we're just going and finding the pieces that were left of him. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying the whole quest was like a flashback. We're just getting the narrative of what happened, which is why when we went and scanned those pieces. Yeah, that's why they were all kind of rubbish piles spread around. That was from okay.
Exactly.
So, well, that is actually like there's almost no doubt about that. When he was injected, when he was turned into Umbra, that way before even any Warframe was made, because like Umbra predates even the Primes, which were the original pieces of which were the original Warframes where all Warframes are copied from. It predates the Primes. We do know that, and that was during the Orcan era with the Dax soldiers. So, but like the big question is, has he been around? Like, has he always been around? Now all of a sudden, like, Balos is like, "Hey, Nata, what up? Let's go kill this Umbra." Which, by the way, like, if Umbra hadn't done anything, Umbra cannot defy its creator for some weird reason that that's never explained. But like, if
it could be never killed related Umbra, to him being Dax too.
Then then the operator would have never been involved, and Balos would have never been stabbed. Like, Balos didn't have to do anything about Umbra. He could have just kept him like howling at that tree and like, whatever it is, do what you want. Like, you're not gonna kill me. But now he got himself hurt. Not killed. I don't believe he's dead.
I don't think he's dead either. He's
not Umbra?
Dead.
Oh, Balos?
No, Balos. Yeah.
There's no way he's dead. I mean, we stabbed him in the abdomen, not in the chest, we didn't slice off his head or anything like that. I mean, there's a really high chance that he's still alive, especially with the technology of the sentience and the knowledge that Balos has as an Orcan. I mean, yeah, he's fine.
Here's my question. Why does Balos just randomly show up now?
Oh, that's actually one of my questions. Where did Balos come from, and why is he just showing up now? Yeah. So let's.
I thought that's where the comic book was going, but it didn't. Have you guys read the comic?
Yeah, I actually stopped at issue 4. I need to read issue 5, but yeah.
I only made it through issue 1.
Well, actually, they were about to say it in issue 1, and then they just like kind of kept it up. But though I have to say, like, I love the comics. If you don't have the comics yet, go check them out. But I don't feel that the comics should be the canon of the game. You should be able to like figure out in the game what's going on by actually playing the game. But my question was like, why did Balos all of a sudden show up? Because it doesn't seem like Balos and Umbra were in battle, so he just pinpointed Umbra. Was like, "Hey, let's go here," and he just like took 5 sentients and told these sentients like half an hour before, just go hide around that place because I feel Umbra may be coming there, and I'll just show up and you can like mimic into your sentients. That will look cool. Or maybe they've been there like forever. Who knows? Sentients are weird. Even when they like called for all reinforcements across all the solar system, that turned out to be like about 5 sentients that we had to fight. Sure.
Great army, guys.
Really showing us. But
so going real quick, going to the past, the thing that happened in the past, is the theory then, I'm just trying to put pieces together for myself here now. The theory that the Apostasy prologue happened extremely far in the past before we grabbed even the void out of the thing, or because when you went and inspected like all the pods, it looked like it had already been we already had our operator before we went down there, is that the right storyline?
Or the prologue happens in the present. Actually, let's talk about Lotus, because this is also something like I'm sorry, like Defton, please cut me off if you want to move on to another topic, but like this.
No, you're good.
this leads into the Lotus. It's like before the sacrifice came out, there was this theory on the forums that I really loved, but I could not include it into my videos because there was not enough like conclusive evidence. But this is how it goes. So the theory was that Nata is this sentient, and the sentient does not have a human form, but they can control fragments. So the Lotus that we see can never be Nata, which turned out to be it's not Nata. So the Lotus is shaped into to the liking of Margulis. So what if, because Margulis is expecting Ballas to do something around her execution, Ballas did not kill Margulis, they faked it, and then Nata took over Lotus via the helmet, which is why when Ballas comes around and says, and is like, how long have we waited for this moment? Nata, that is controlling Margulis via the helmet, says, I'm not who you think I am. He then waves his hand around, and then it's like, the wires disconnect, and it's like, we see the same glister of like technology or whatever, when the Lotus disconnects, as we saw in the second dream when our operator comes around, and then she's like, Ballas? Like, she knows Ballas? So that was the theory. The Lotus, the Lotus is actually Margulis being controlled through the helmet by Nata.
Oh, okay. That would explain, because yeah, that was going to be my question as well. If it was Margulis down there, you know, it couldn't have been Nata, because obviously sentients can't go in the void. So how is that even possible, right? So I was like, how can those three Lotus not, like, I was so confused, but it makes sense if she was controlling her via the helmet, which is why it was Margulis. Okay, yeah.
But
that theory
here's the turn. That if that scene in the very start is in the past, that means that Ballas and Nata were working already together, which is interesting because Nata had like this final sequence to destroy the Tenno, but she never did. Even though, but Ballas had been working with Hunhao to destroy the Organ, so they wouldn't have cared about the Tenno. And this is where the thing comes in. This is why this theory is interesting, because if you play the very first part of the sacrifice, it completely turns around, because the Lotus in the end doesn't care about you anymore. It's like, this is who I am, Tenno, boom, away. But at the start of the quest, the helmet is calling out to you, Tenno. Why would Nata call out to you if she if she doesn't even care about you enough to like inform you like what's been going on, anything like that? And we know through Umbra, like Umbra, the spirit that's connected to Umbra, we know that in this universe, in this Warframe universe, it is possible for spirits or souls of people or things to like attach themselves to objects, because we rebuild Umbra. It's not the original Umbra. We rebuild it, and somehow it becomes possessed by this thing. So what if Margulis now has died but controlled that helmet? That's where Margulis resided, and she controlled Nata in the sense that, you know, we were when we were going through this backstory of Umbra, we were at a point where we said, he's gonna kill my son, his son. We kind of assumed that it was us. So what if what if Margulis had the same effects on Nata and created the Lotus, giving her this false idea of like, I need to have children of my own, I need to protect the Tenno, while still realizing that she was Nata, but giving this false idea. And then when the helmet was released, she became Nata again, and like Ballas was like, what is the Lotus doing? What's Nata doing? He came and checked her out, cut off the helmet, and then she became Nata again, and she flew off. Which is interesting because the entire thing is turned around. Both could still be the case, but yeah, there's definitely something going on about that helmet.
Huh. So
this is what I was hoping they would answer.
But yeah,
like everything is speculation at this point. But
yeah,
like, dude, I don't know, because we know that Nata, or at least we have heard and we've gone through these quests knowing that Margulis was killed or was executed by the Orokin.
Yeah,
I think there's even a reference to the Jade Chamber thing too.
The Jade Light, yeah. Even like, hold on, I can find it. I transcribed the entire quest.
I was gonna say that, yeah. For anyone wondering how he's getting these lines, he literally went through and transcribed the whole thing.
Yeah, because I couldn't replay it. It sucked, so I had to like had another way.
Yeah.
Have we seen the man in the wall interaction after the quest? No, I logged in and I didn't get it.
I did.
But I don't get any I don't even get Hey Kiddos, so I don't know either platform. I'm just that unlucky. I don't get any of the bonus stuff.
Wow. But yeah, I've seen it. I
So
should have transcribed the lines though.
so you want to know about the Jade Light? That
Is
is
that
like
it?
when.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, so it's about the moment you go back, and then Bella says to Umbra, he says, "Trouble concentrating, old friend. Look at all your Comey stones I've taken." And before he's referencing these Comey stones as being the lives of like the Dak soldiers that he takes, and he says,
Yep.
"This one, a brother, these three, his children, and on, all of these gone to the Jade Light." So the Jade Light is like, we don't know exactly what it is, but people die when they face it.
Yeah, maybe it's supposed to be like Warframe's version of heaven, like, you know, that kind of idea.
Yeah.
I thought the Jade Light was the execution chamber.
Yeah,
You
I
think?
feel it's because like they tell Marguerite you will face the Jade Light and then die. So
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I don't know.
Huh.
yeah.
It's so
Like everything is all up in the air, and actually, I was seeing some comments on my video saying that they really didn't like the fact that DE was very ambiguous about the storyline. But I countered that by saying I think that's good storytelling. You know, that makes it so that we want more. We want them to create more, and it adds a bunch of like cliffhangers, and it draws us into the story more. It makes us want to come back for the next installment. It's like a TV show. It's literally the exact same formula, except in a game, and I like that a lot. So,
What's this cliffhanger not too strong?
though,
well, it's right there in the fiber of the game though. Like I remember early like 2013, 2014, Steve talking about how he wants it to feel like you're discovering things, or you know, things feel like a mystery, like even down to gameplay elements. So it's in the DNA of the game at this point. So it's like, I don't know. It's I definitely would like to kind of cherry pick things that aren't like you say ambiguous, but it doesn't seem like we can, because they're making the calls for us. So
Yeah.
it makes it hard, man. Makes it tough to talk about it.
it does, but I don't
It's
know.
getting dark, real dark.
It is. It honestly.
Very
I
well.
kind of like that though.
There's also something dark. Like, if we want to move on, we can move on. But there's also some. Like, I also have like a really dark theory, which is kind of fun to discuss. Up to
Okay.
you, Dan. Up to you, Dan.
Dark theory.
Yeah.
All
we
right.
can
This-
go with it. Yeah.
This is, you will never look at your orbiter the same way. So, when going for the quest, you will discover that the way that warframes are created is not with technology. They're not built by technology or anything. They're just normal DAX soldiers that are
Yep.
infested with the helmet virus. An infested virus that turns their skin into steel and turns their organs like immortal or whatever. Like they become
Yeah.
the best weapons, but their brains are fucked up, so they needed Tenno to control themselves. So, and while they're talking about that helmet virus in the Vitruvian, you will see a background image. Now, let me tell you, that background image is very important, because before they're talking about the sentient and they're talking about Nata, and Nata is in the background. Like you didn't see that when you played it for the first time, but there's actually a drawing of Nata the sentient with Nata in Tenobet written on it. So you could have known that it was Nata if you could read Tenobet, but not all of us can.
Sorry.
No, good.
But in that background, when they're talking about the helmet virus, they created the helmet. And you see in the background, there's also Tenobet saying helmet, and you see the exact chair that is in your orbiter, which is also likewise called helmet, and it's alive, and it's a chair where you can sit in and you can get that cyst taken out. But that looks like it just does something simple. It could be used for so much more, and that makes you wonder: when you create a warframe, how do you make that? Your foundry is way too small, and Warframe really pays close attention to like what is in your orbiter. You have your foundry that's like, you have that arm that can create weapons. You see your weapons spinning if it's like done. You will have your mod capacity. You have your pet in your incubator slot, but you never see where your weapons are created. But you still have this chamber in your orbiter. What does it do? Well, because that chair is the exact same thing that we see in the background, when they're talking about helmet, that's gotta be the thing where they create warframes, right? So if you want to create a Warframe, if you want to build a Warframe, well, of course you're going to have different blueprints, because one helmet fires, you can have different versions of the helmet fires. One helmet fires can turn you into a rhino, because they use different variations of the virus.
Yeah.
One can turn into a foal. So what if the blueprints are just like the instructions for helmet to how to apply that virus? And that it takes 72 hours, because when you're creating a Warframe, you're not just building it in your foundry, it's actually putting a person in that room and turning them into a Warframe on your ship.
Yeah, because there's a bed in that room too. So if they like sat in the chair, got the fibers, and then that was like their incubator.
Yeah.
Just like in the quest. Oh, that's such a cool theory. Could you imagine
you're building
if
a
they
Warframe?
added that now? If there was like the little picture of your, like a little dude sitting there, little Dax soldier, like, all right, starting to get.
Has anyone went into that room while a Warframe was constructing?
Never.
No.
So who knows? There may be.
What
like,
if it's
a
the
guy
greatest
screaming.
Easter egg ever?
Like nobody has ever tried, dude. What?
Would it
So-
would it work for primes though? Would it hold true for primes?
Most likely, yes.
Because I can acquire what's his face, Limbo Prime right now. I could go start him building for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, go peek it.
So think about what happens when we rescue operatives. I mean, maybe we set them free. Maybe we keep them. I mean, Warframes can be made voluntary or involuntary. I mean, we just still need our people. We just need like one person to go in there and get. So yeah, that is one thing that I was really sad about, is that like Helmet really ties in, we know, with the creation of Warframes. But if you go with Umbra to that room, there are no different ways from Helmet saying Umbra. It doesn't say anything. It's just sad.
So, I always love talking about lore. I think lore is like a really cool discussion to talk about, because of the way that DE is telling the story. They're telling it in a very episodic way, and I really enjoy that, because it allows us to discuss the episodes as they come. But I do want to kind of transition away from this and talk about something that's coming soon, and I'm trying to find an asset for it. One of you guys might have it actually, but I can't find it. The next Warframe, the Eidolon/sentient themed Warframe. We haven't really gotten too many details about it yet, but I wanted to kind of talk to you guys and see what you thought. Do you think that that's a good thing? Do you think that that ties into the next cinematic quest with the whole Tau system? Do you think, just overall, what are your thoughts? Maybe what kind of powers it's going to have? Will it have a special effect? So let's go with Jim. What do you think?
So you're talking about the vampire frame?
Yeah.
Or the necro guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's because that's tough to think too. And he is wispy. And initially I thought it was just because, they've been adding more of that kind of graphical, just the way they've been adding it to more deluxe frames and stuff for like visual impact of the game. But I never thought, because they did say that we're supposed to get him soon as well. So if we got him at the same time as like the next part right away, that could indicate, I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, you guys have a better understanding of where that might go, especially with like a frame that's like a sentient type frame. But it would make sense because we don't have anything like that to date, right? It's just everything. I mean, Nidus was as close as we got, which I thought we were going to learn about after what Michelle said in the quest when they talked about how the frame was created, right? How Umbra was created, and that's why I was like, oh yeah, that was Nidus, right? And then I kind of thought I put those pieces together, but I guess not, because we didn't get specific details. But it would be very interesting to learn that, yeah, now there's a whole nother thing. I don't know. Could you imagine though if it opened it up to like, oh hey, yeah, by the way, Warframes were these injected helmet people, but oh wait, there's this sentient infused one that's OP that they created over here. I don't know. Do we have any lore like that so far where they've talked specifically about? Was there any mention of that, Michelle? Do you know in the sacrifice? if
About-
Balance let a one-liner slip or something where using Hunhao or the sentience to create any kind of frame or modify. None are coming to my mind. I was like, oh, this looks so good, it's so fun, and then everything else was forgotten for me.
So a frame, you mean like whether they could create a frame using sentient parts, referring to
Right.
the Warframe.
Right, yes.
Honestly, I haven't seen something drop like the one the interesting thing about that is that it kind of goes against the reason why they made the Warframes, is because they had no other they could not use technology here. It says
Well, didn't they create them to go against the operator because they wanted to just nuke the operators dead because that was like their opposition, right?
Yeah, you mean like whether they created a sentient Warframe to fight against the operators?
The Orkin created Warframes
Yeah.
to fight against the Tenno,
Sentient.
right?
No,
The sentient.
sentient.
No, sentient.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So like the old war is Orkin creates sentience, best piece of technology ever.
Right.
That's like sentient on themselves. They can think, they can reproduce. They say, find new land for us. They send them out to a new system. Sentients come to new lands, like, wow, so amazing. And they're like, shit, Orkin will come here and they will destroy it. We destroy Orkin, land remains cool, which is like the Tau system. And
Yep.
then they turn against the Orkin, but because they're like technology, all their technology fails, and then Ballast says, like, our hubris shone like a black star. For our technology, our war machines were your kin. How easily you turned them against us. We were forced to older means, not circuits, nor lights, nor light, but flashing disease. Our horrors passed, our ravaged outer colonies became gardens. We cultivated infestation, conceiving of a hybrid. Transformed, but only just, the Helminth was created, born to yield these new warriors, worthy of battle against you, the great
Okay.
and terrible Hanao. So yeah.
Well, who
So-
wanted to kill the Tenno then? Nobody? We're just there?
Well, no, after the
Yeah.
whole situation went down with the sentients, we actually turned against the Orkin, meaning the Tenno. So yeah.
Oh, no,
That's
no.
how it went.
I know what he's asking about. Yeah, Ballas did want to exterminate the Tenno at one point, and Margulis told him to basically F off.
Yeah, no. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
isn't
but
that
yeah,
why
that
she
was
got executed?
afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was before Ballas found a use for him, basically.
Well-
It's like, oh, well, we can use him for this.
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta go back to the second dream for that. But what I feel happened is that, so we had we had this thing going on. They created these warframes to fight against the sentients, and the first ones they send out, they were. I will get back to you next Friday because this kind of ties into what we were talking about in chat. Is that the first warframe seemed to work out very well against the sentients. They thought their minds were good. The infested disease had not overtaken their minds, but then the infested seed started overtaking their minds, and they turned against the Orkin as well because they were like crazy infested. And I think before that happened, they had this accident happen where in this void jump accident, all the adults died on that ship, and like the Tenno were left with their transference, but also with their there were side effects to that, which is like our void shadow that we see, the hey kiddo. Like, you cannot tell me that they only got transference and they didn't have any negative side effects. So it could have been that the Orkin were like, when that happened, they were like, we should destroy them because like we can't have this on our plate when we're fighting sentients, and that's kind of going good. So let's just kill them. Let's just get rid of them. And then Morgulis was like, no, over my dead body. And it's like, okay, well, cool. We'll kill you. We don't do it. And then Ballas was like, hey, transference. Let's try that.
Let's see if we can use them with that.
Yeah. Okay.
And-
Okay, gotcha. Quick update: there is nobody pops in the chair when you start a new Warframe.
Dang.
Oh,
That would have
rip the
been so
dream.
nice.
I mean, I'll check it back in a couple days, though. I'm not gonna get rid of the cyst on my Zephyr. She looks too good with it. So
So, one question came in chat. So Excalibur Umbra's former Dax soldier, and their lips were sealed after they turned into a frame. Then this goes rogue, or then the frame goes rogue. So, is this how the Stalker was born? So
I was commenting on them.
I would love to talk about the Stalker.
Whoa.
Oh yes.
like, I mean, okay, so I've been thinking this entire time it's either a situation like Rel, where the Tenno is actually trapped inside of the Warframe. Either that, or it's just a frame like Umbra. Now that we know what Umbra is, it's a frame just like Umbra, where like he has his own consciousness and like he still has his mind, but it's not as broken as, let's say, Umbra's. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. What do you think, Mo?
Oof, I got so much to say. First of all, Stalker got ripped out of his quest because everyone wanted Umbra. That was Stalker's quest. Let's be honest.
True.
Like, if no one cared about Umbra, it would have been the conclusion to the Stalker saga. It really would have.
Yeah.
But we wanted Umbra, so Stalker got bombed. Period. Now, what Stalker is still ambiguous because we don't know who them is. You were once like them.
Yeah.
Is he talking about the Warframe or is he talking about the Tenno? And that's one of those problems where the quest is not being clear about, you know, what them is in the dialogues. Because we knew if he had said you were once like the Warframes, you still, or if he had said you were once like the Tenno, but you still hate them, but he doesn't. He says them, and then you just go, I don't know what them is, but I mean, I can only fill in the blanks. But yeah, man, it's like that. Either one of those theories holds up. Like he can be on the rail side of things, or he could be on the Umbra side of things. And it's like, I don't know where, you know, which one is the right answer. But I feel bad now because, like, what do we even do? Like, because I don't think they're gonna go back and tell a Stalker story. Why would they?
Can you go back and revisit or entwine the two? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the Stalker is gonna go on the back burner. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's gonna get to a point where they're like, okay, well, you know, it's really important for us to talk about the Lotus and the sentience and go to the Tau system. So let's do that first. You know, we'll explore that. We'll get this Venus planet, or we'll get this Venus area out there, and then afterwards we're focused on the other characters that we have, like the Stalker. So I think we'll probably see it later, like way later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but were you gonna say something, Michelle?
Well, like, this is just on the spot, so excuse me if this is not this is not entirely backed up, but okay. So the Stalker itself, as I was talking in chat with before we spoke about this on stream, is that the Stalker and Umbra share the same model in game. The same character model that's not seen with any other character, which cannot be an accident. Like, there is thought behind, okay, let's use this model on Stalker as well. They don't just do that by accident. So we also know, like, the second thing is that Stalker, like, in the second dream, there are two moments. One that says that Hanao says, like, when they're, like, doing that, it's kind of like, I don't know the exact line, but they kind of confirm that he doesn't have a Tenno. But then later on, when the Stalker's holding the Tenno like that, it's kind of like, you know what they are, you know it yourself too. It's like, kind of like, you know, you are the same. You know, you still hate them, you still hate yourself, which is like, okay, well, that's kind of contradictory. But what if that, like, you know you hate them, you still hate yourself, referred to the Warframe. You are like that Warframe, and you still hate yourself because you were turned into that Warframe. You were turned into that. So with that, he could be like that. That means that he doesn't have a Tenno. He doesn't have an operator. But you may say, okay, well, he was infested with Helminth. How can he keep his sanity? How can he go without a Tenno? Well, the main thing is that Umbra here is the exception. Umbra here is the exception that could control his mind. That was still a sentient Warframe. So Stalker like that could also be a sentient Warframe on his own that did not lose his mind. They also said that the first tests were completely fine. All the Warframes just went down and fired the sentients, and then the infested disease took over most of the minds, so they needed a Tenno. So with that, he could be like Umbra, the exception to the rule, that he was still sentient, and then he would still be fighting for the organ. Because in the quest, they say that people joined in for this voluntary and involuntary. So Dax or the Dax soldier or the Umbra one is involuntary. Like, he was captured, he had no choice, he was turned to that. So of course he was gonna fight against Ballas, of course he was gonna be angry. But what if Stoker was a soldier that voluntarily signed up? He was he's voluntarily signed up, he went for the treatment, and he went to fight for the Orokin. He did not get overtaken by the disease, so he still kept his mind, and then saw the Orokin being slaughtered, and thought the Tenno did it, which the Tenno may just have done. That the Tenno destroyed him, is now out to get the revenge for the Orokin that he's still fighting for, and he's still trying to kill all the Tenno.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is a Dax a low guardian?
A Dax a low guardian, like low in rank?
Like, could you look at a Dax and say that's a low guardian? Like, as far as, like, would that be a fair thing to assign to a Dax?
Yeah, like Dax. I feel Dax soldiers were, before the Warframes, and except for the Sentients, they're prime soldiers, because in the second dream they're talking about it's about the people that we consigned to Lua. It's like, no, Executor, we can't do that. It's not like they're Dax soldiers, so being a Dax soldier was like kind of something of status. You played in gold, you're a Dax soldier, really good. So yeah.
Because remember, that's what the Stalker calls himself. He said, I was a low guardian. So, I mean, that might be a hint. I mean, that
When
sounds Daxy. I don't know. It's hard, man. It's hard to place any of this.
It's so, but everything is so circumstantial that once DE drops the lore bomb, it's like, it makes sense. But before, it could be anything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they did that purposely too. To keep us thinking, to keep us theorizing. But we are at 58 minutes right now, so it actually just hit 1 o'clock 2 minutes ago. So we're gonna close up the stream in a little bit, but do you guys have any last minute things you wanna get out before we end? Anything?
I was just gonna say, guys, go follow from the 70s who just showed up in chat. Amazing cast. It was gonna be a
Hey 70s, what's going on? But yeah, so this was TennoTalk. I hope you guys enjoyed. As the this was kind of like the pilot, as the show or whatever you want to call it, show or podcast. I don't know. As it progresses, it will obviously get better. I'll continue to work on it. But this is my baby. This is my project, and I hope it does well. Once again, if you guys did enjoy, and you're not already followed to the channel, make sure you do that, because we're going to be doing this bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks, you'll have TennoTalk at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time from 12 to 1. So if you're interested in this format and you like interacting with the different partners that you see and that you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube, then make sure you stay tuned and be ready at 12 p.m. Eastern every Saturday or every other Saturday. But that was it. That was TennoTalk. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you at the next episode.
We got to get you guys Elgatos.
Yeah, dude, I need an Elgato. All right.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Dude, I need an Elgato. Oh, I need that. I need that. Where'd you get that?
Amazon.
I need to get that.
I have it right there. I have it right there.
Dude, I need one. Like,
it is so good.
Really, really bad.
It is I love them. I love them, man.
Are we still live?